95% of agencies fail because they are not able to get clients. In this video, I will give you my full acquisition ecosystem, so getting clients becomes effortless for you. It's a collection of the best outreach strategies on earth. They work in any niche with any service. And it also includes the exact outreach strategy that I used in only one of my businesses to book over 600 sales calls just in the last 6 months. So if you follow the video until the end, you will have the exact systems you can copy and paste to start getting clients tomorrow. So the acquisition ecosystem is the ecosystem to attract high-ticket clients with the most effective strategies in the world. First of all, what is acquisition? Acquisition means getting strangers aware, interested in your product, and make them buy. The goal here, we want to get qualified people to hop on a sales call with you. And there is a difference between outbound and inbound. Outbound means that you reach out to them in order to get them on a call. Inbound means that you place something that they reach out to you, right? And the biggest principles that we have to cover before we go into the strategies are these 3 things. So no matter how good your strategy is, if you lack one of those things, you are not able to get clients. First of all, you need to have a good product. Marketing cannot make a product great. It can only showcase a great product to the right people. So make sure you have a good product before implementing any of these outreach strategies. Second of all, consistency. No matter what you do, you have to be consistent. It's a numbers game and you have to stick to it for at least 3 to 4 months in order to see results. And third, mindset. As I said, it's a numbers game, so you have to stick to it. There will be phases where you do not get any replies. It's totally normal. You just have to push through it, keep a positive mindset, and keep going. As I said, if you like one of them, you're not able to get clients. So set them as the fundament, and now we dive into the strategies. So we split them into different types. So we have, first of all, the outreach, so that you actually reach out to people. This is like an outbound strategy. It's tailored for people who are at 0 and want to get to 10K, and it's free. So you do not have to pay money. You only have to invest time to make it work. Then we have content. It's inbound. So you place something and people start to reach out to you. It's also for people who are just starting out and want to get to 10K. This is not, it will not get you clients in the time frame that you are looking for. So this is something you should start on the side as well, but this is not some short-term strategy, right? But it's also free, so you can do it without spending money. The next will be paid ads. So this is something that is paid, so you have to pay money in order to get clients with the strategy. It's for people who are making at least, let's say, like 20 to 50K and want to scale to 100K. I will also show you the full system in this video, but this is only for you if you already have 2 or 3 case studies and you have the budget to run ads, because for this strategy, you need leverage. So it's not for starting out. And the last one is referrals. It's also free, and you can even use it for like 0 to 10K, but it's mostly recommended for people who are making at least 10K to scale to 50K. So as I said, no matter where you're at right now, in this video, you will learn everything you need to know in order to get clients. So we start with the outreach, right? And when I mean outreach, I mean that you actually reach out to people and call them, message them in any way, right? So before we dive into how we can reach out to them, we first of all need to get their contact information so we can reach out to them. Right? And this is called prospecting. Prospecting means that you get a list of contact information so you can contact people. Right? First of all, we need the company's names. So we need to find out what the company is called and what like the phone number and the email address of the company, for example, is. For this, I recommend you to either use software. So there's like pre-built software. You can just type in a niche, the city, and then it will give you all the contact information and companies. A free version would be Google Maps, so that you just go on Google Maps, type in the company, the niche of the company, the city, and then you use an extension, for example, Instant Data Scraper, to scrape all the leads and get a list of them. Another option would be directories, like local directories of companies in your area, or paid data, so you can also pay companies to give you data. As I said in the beginning, I would go for one of those free solutions, so either Google Maps or directories, and just build a list of companies. And after you have the companies and the contact information, you also need the name of the decision maker, because the decision maker is the person like the CEO who makes the decision. So you need to have their name so you can speak to them directly, right? To get the decision maker's name, I recommend you to just copy and paste the company's name into Google, go on their website, and then find the decision maker's name on their website. Otherwise, you can also look on social media, or in some softwares, if you use a software to find the company's name, it's also included like the name of the decision maker. Right? So after you have a list of at least 100 to 250 people, then we can start reaching out. Right? And with the first strategy, so with outreach, we actually reach out to them directly. So we have to invest time in order to get them on the phone or send an email in order to get in touch with them and then book them in a call. So we have different ways that we can do it. We can do cold calls, so call them. We can do warm outreach, so reach out to people we already know. We can do door to door, so we can go in your local areas, just knock at their door and talk to them. You can send cold emails and you can send cold DMs, right? We start at the left. For all of those different strategies, you can either give them free value first, or you can talk to them and book them straight into a call in like a sales call, right? Because booking them in a sales call is the goal that we have at the end of the day, and we always want to book them in a sales call. So as I said, like with every strategy, you can choose on your own if you want to give them free value first and then book them in a call, or go for straight booking them into a call. For some strategies, it only makes sense to book them straight in a call or give them free value. So I recommend you, if you do cold calls, book them straight into a call. If you do warm outreach, you can do both. If you do door to door, book them in a call. If you do cold emails or cold DMs, give them free value first, so there is a reason to respond, and then book them in a call, right? If you go for cold calls, I would recommend you to use AirCall or Just Call as the software to reach them. And this is the script that I've used back then and also my setters used to book all the appointments. So this is a super strong script. You should tailor it based on your niche and everything, but this is like a structure that you can use. So, hey, is the CEO name? If they say no, so if you speak to a gatekeeper, you just tell the gatekeeper, please connect me with CEO name. Tell him it's Jonas, for example. Right? So in this scenario, the gatekeeper won't even ask what this is about because she or he believes that you know the owner. Then you just tell him, hey, hello, I'm calling about getting you X results. Do you want to hang up right now or give me 15 seconds? If you get permission, you move on. So you tell them your offer. And then you make a little pause and tell them, currently we are looking for 1, maybe 2 potential partners in. Then you mention the area. Try to make it as local as possible. And then you just ask him if he can handle this additional appointments or whatever you sell him, right? And then you book him in a call. This works super well, and you should book at least 4 to 5% from all the people that pick up and you speak to the CEO into a call, right? The next one is warm outreach. So with cold calls, you reach out to random people. With warm outreach, you reach out to people you already know, people from your audience, for example, right? For this, you should do it personal. So you should not use any software for this, just like do it personally. And the people could be, for example, family members that maybe run businesses, people in your contact list. So you maybe have any like CEOs in your contact list already, business friends of your family. So maybe ask your parents if they know any CEOs that might be in the right niche for your product, or maybe even old companies you have worked for. So just go through your companies, to your contact list, and reach out to all the people that might be interested in your product. Right? Because warm outreach is one of the biggest things that you can do when starting out, because you already have leverage. The next one is door to door. So as I said, you just get a list of like companies in your local area. You just knock at their door and speak to them in person. I know it's super scary, but this is also something that can get you great results, especially when starting out. And in our higher level mentorships, we already have some people who got like their first 5 to 6K deals as their first client because they did door to door. So it's a super strong strategy. Also, go directly for the call and do it personally. Right? The last options that we have is, first of all, cold emails and cold DMs. So here you send messages and hope for a reply. With those, you have to go for volume. So you have to send a lot of messages to get replies. Right? For both cases, I would recommend you to give free value first, because if you pitch them a call immediately, not many people will respond. And you should also use like automations for them, because as I said, this is about volume and this is not something that you do personally. So you can just use automations. For example, for Facebook, you can use Messenger bot. For Instagram, you can use auto IGDM. And for mail, you can use instantly. Right? And here you should send at least, it depends on the platform, but at least like 50 to 100 DMs and 200 to 300 emails per day. Right? Especially when it comes down to sending messages, as I said, I would go for free value. So this is the script and the message that I would use, and that worked for me super well. So hello name, thanks for connecting. I've just recorded a quick video analysis of your current social media presence or whatever is connected to your product. There I also show you how we help. Then you insert your offer. Do you want me to send over the video free of charge and with no obligation? So we basically tell them that we recorded a video for free for them. We tell them that we also show them our offer, and then we tell them that they can just request a video without obligation and completely free. And many people will do this, right? So a lot of people will do this because first of all, they are curious what exactly you show them in a video. Second of all, it's free value and people love free value. And third of all, they believe the video is already recorded. So they just want to see it, right? So this is, as I said, like the general structure script that I would use for cold emails and cold DMs of any kind. If you go for LinkedIn, then I would even go a bit further and follow the following structure, right? Because LinkedIn is one of the best channels you can use if you go for cold DMs. And then I would connect with 10 to 15 people per day. 20 to 30% should accept your connection then. Once they accepted the connection, you send them the following script. At least 7 to 10% should request the video then afterwards. Then you wait until they replied. After they replied, you record and send a short video. So you do not reply it upfront, record it upfront. And from all the people that request the video, around 15 to 20% should book a call, right? As I said, like you need to do follow-ups with all of the strategies that we have here, but this is also a super strong strategy that you can use if you want to go for cold DMs. I also recommend you that you choose like 2 or 3 strategies. So for example, cold calls, warm outreach, and cold DMs. Try not to do like all of them because that's too much, but stick to 2 or 3 of them, right? And you can also like shortcut this whole process because many of those strategies is about like volume. Also like cold calls, you have to do a lot of volume, cold emails and cold DMs. So these are like the only 2 things that you should do like personally. The other things you can like outsource to other people to use other people's time to get outreach done. Because as you see, like volume is key. So the more outreach you do, the sooner you will get clients. So what you can do is you can hire setters. Setters are people who do cold calls, cold emails, or cold DMs for you, set appointments, and then get a commission for the people that you closed. So they send, let's say like they do 200 cold calls per day and they send 50 emails per day. From there, they set appointments for you. And if you close one of the clients that showed up in the appointment, the setter who set the appointment gets 10 to 15% on the first retainer that you get from the client. Right? This is a super strong strategy that you can use to get more outreach done and get clients faster, especially when starting out, since you do only pay them after you got money and not upfront. Right? Great sources for this are, for example, school groups based on like sales or setters, or Facebook groups. So just make a post there, try to find those people, and you will find a lot of people with time who are willing to do cold calls for you. Right? And no matter if you do the cold calls by yourself or if you have a setup for this, you should always track your numbers. So when it comes to cold calls, you should track your dials. So how many dials you do, how many people pick up, how many times you spoke to the CEO, how many are in any kind of like interested, and how many booked the call. When it comes down to cold emails and DMs, you should track how many messages you sent, how many messages was seen, how many replied, how many was interested, and how many booked the call. Because at the end of the day, you want to get a booking rate. So you want to know exactly, if I do 100 cold calls, I will book 2 of them, right? So you want to have a number that you exactly know, I book 2 or 3% from all the cold calls I do, because then you can replicate the process. After you know exactly how much percent you book, you can just play it based on numbers. So you can say, for example, hey, I need to do 1,000 cold calls to get a client, right? So I only need to spend like 7 days doing cold calls, then I get the next client. So we want to make it a numbers game, and therefore it's super important to track your numbers and optimize from there. And no matter which strategy you used, the goal here is to book a call. So if you were successful, you booked the sales call and you achieve the goal of this outreach method, right? The next one is content. It's also like for people who are just starting out, it's free and it's inbound. So you post content and you hope that people reply to the content and reach out to you, right? The different sources we have here is YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and TikTok, right? When it comes down to YouTube, I would post at least 1 or 2 times per week. On Instagram, 3 or 4 times per week, and also stories. On Facebook, you can do the same. So you can just post all the content that you post on Instagram also on Facebook. On LinkedIn, you have to post daily. On Twitter or X, you have to post 1 or 2 times per day, because here it's about posting small content pieces, but volume-based. And on TikTok, I would also post 3 or 4 times per week, right? And no matter where you post the content or which content to create, your content will always look like this. Every content piece will have a hook, so something that grabs the attention. It will have the content, so the thing that actually delivers the message, and a call to action, which explains the next steps that the user, like the viewer, has to do afterwards. Okay, so when it comes down to the content, you have basically three options here, right? So you can either share like case studies, so you can share any kind of results that you got for yourself or that your clients got. You can share value, entertain them or inspire them. For example, you can share them how to get clients, how to run Facebook ads, or like make them aware of something. Or you can pitch them, or you can talk about yourself, you can talk about your solution, how it can help your clients, right? These are like the only three real areas that you can do when it comes down to content. And especially when like creating value content or entertaining them or inspiring them, you either make them problem aware or you make them solution aware, right? So if you share value, you either showcase them that they have a problem or you showcase them the solution that you potentially have and that there is like a solution to the problem that they have, right? So these are like the big three areas that you can create content in. And no matter which of the three areas you choose, again, there are two things that always are included in your content. So first of all, the topic. So what exactly you speak about. If you create like a value video as content, then the topic could be, for example, as I said, how to get clients, how to run Facebook ads, how to retain clients, whatever. So every content piece includes like a topic. So what exactly do you talk about inside of like these areas, and a format. So how you package everything. You could either package it as like, let's say like an Instagram story. You could package it at like an Instagram post. If you go for a YouTube video, you could then package it as like a keynote or like as a lucid chart I'm doing right now. So after you choose what exactly you want to create as the content, so for example, case studies, value, pitch, you then choose which topic do you want to talk about inside of those areas. And after you choose the topic, you then try to find a fitting format. So how to package it in the most effective and valuable way. Because some things only make sense to share as a story. Other things only make sense to share as a YouTube video or like as a lucid chart or keynote presentation, right? And the only goal we have here is we want to build trust and we also position ourselves as an expert. Because if they believe that we know what we talk about, and they trust us to deliver the things that we talk about, they will book a call at the end of the day. So this is like the goal here. In order to make them book a call, you should not pitch them that much. You should just give out value until they start to ask about getting something from you, right? So just focus on like case studies, value, entertainment, and inspiring them. This is the biggest block that you should focus on. And it's also a great idea to share value on how they can do it themselves. For example, how to run Google Ads by yourself. And after they see the expertise that you have, they know how to do it, but they don't want to do it themselves. So the next logical step for them is to book a call to get it done by you because they see the expertise that you have, right? So here is the biggest effort that you should put into like the value, entertainment, and inspire area. And then in order to make them book a call, we just have a really good and optimized bio. So for all platforms, you can either have like book a free call here, CTA on like the bio, and then a link to book a call with you. Or if you have especially like a higher ticket product, you could have a call to action, get X free value here. So you just advertise free value. So for example, a free playbook that they can download in order to get like the free thing, and you get like the email address, right? So when opting in for free value, the free value should make them aware of the problem. So the next logical step is to book a call plus follow-up emails, right? So if you want to give them free value, the free value should make them aware of the problem. For example, a calculator where they can calculate how much money they lose right now without doing advertising, whatever. And after they calculated through everything, they are now aware of the problem. And the next logical step is to book a call with the link that you have in your free value, for example. Since they also opt in, you also can send like follow-up emails. So you also can get more people on the calls, right? And a little bonus for content. This is not really content you create, but this is something you can do daily, but what also works really, really well, especially in different niches. So if, for example, your niche are like coaches, school groups work really well for this. And this is like forums. So you just go to existing places and softwares, for example, school groups, Grower, and Facebook groups, and you just engage with the people there and post valuable stuff for them. So if you for example, as I said, like you focus on like coaches, then you can just join school communities where coaches are active, just answer the questions they have and maybe like do some advertisement posts there. Be careful here, you can get banned for doing this, but this can be also super valuable and also get like a lot of appointments booked. The next thing is paid ads. So as I said, this is something you should not start when starting out. You need a lot of like ad spend that you put into the ads in order to run the ads and get results. So you should only do this if you have at least 2 or 3 really, really great case studies. So you have leverage, or you are at least at like 20 or 50K a month. And this is like an accelerator to go to like 100K a month. But basically you have 5 different options here. You can either run like meta ads, so ads on like Facebook and Instagram. You can run YouTube ads, you can run LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, or Google ads. Right? All of them work a bit differently. So Meta, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok ads are CPM-based ads. So you pay the platform in order to show your ads to people. And the more people see the ad, the more like money you pay at the end of the day. So you pay cost per mile. So you pay for every like, for people seeing the ad, you basically pay. The only difference is Google Ads because it's like CPC based. So here you pay per click. Because Google is not actually showing an ad. Google is just pushing your existing website. So you only pay, so you only use the ad spend that you use once somebody clicked on your website. That's a big difference that you have to understand here. As I said, like Meta, for example, it's just pushing an ad. So you create an ad creative, like an image or a video that you want people to see. If you then run an ad for it, Meta will push this video or image to people on Facebook and Instagram. On YouTube, they will push like a video ad. So you have to create a video as like an ad, and this will be pushed and shown in like other YouTube videos. On LinkedIn, they will push posts that you already made. On TikTok, they will also push videos that you made. And the big difference here is that Google will not push an ad or something that you created to push out. They will push your current website. So this is something most times used by like local businesses. I would not recommend you to do this as an agency. So if you want to run any kind of ads, I would go for meta ads first, right? And as I said, like Google ads are completely different because they're not pushing like something you create. They just push your current website, but all of the other ads follow the same structure. So you always have like a headline. You always have a creative, so a picture or like a video that you create for this certain ad, and you have a call to action. People will always see the creative first. So they will see the video or like the photo first. So this is the most important thing to grab their attention. Then they will see the headline. So the headline that you have, and then they will see the call to action. So the link for like the website, for the call booking page, whatever, right? And more ad spend means more views. So the more money you put into the platform, the more people will actually see the ad that you have or your website. Right? And there are different things that you have to be aware of. First of all, the CPM. So this means like cost per mile. So the cost to show the ad to 1,000 people, right? The CPC means like the cost per click. So cost each time someone clicks the ad. So if you have, for example, a call to action to book a call with you, somebody clicks on the link, then they will just calculate how much it costed you and how many people ignored it by now, right? The CPL means the cost per lead. So cost for each lead generated. And the CPA, one of the most important things here, the cost per acquisition. So the cost for each conversion or sale, right? And after you got, for example, after you got 2 clients, you can then just calculate how much money you put into the ads. If you, for example, spend like 2K into ads and your CPA and you got 2 clients out of that, 1 client costs you 1K, right? So you spend $1,000 to get 1 customer acquired. So both of them cost like the 2K that you spent as ad spend. And then you can also backwards calculate how much a lead costs. So if you, for example, for $1,000 or euros, you get like 10 leads, then every lead costs you $100. So the CPL is 100. And the goal here is to get all these numbers down as much as possible, because the lower the CPA and the lower the CPL, the more money you make. Because if it only costs you, let's say like $100 to get a client, and every client pays you $1,000, then you make a lot of money, right? So the last thing we have to look at is like the LV, so the lifetime value, so the total revenue a customer generates over their entire relationship. And this is based on your product. So if you know, for example, that your product costs like 3K a month and normal clients stay for like 3 months. So you get like 9K, and this is like what the average customer pays you, $9,000, for example. And what we have to do is we have to look at the CPA. So how much does it cost you to acquire a client with ads, and how much money you make on average from one client. And if the lifetime value is bigger than the cost per acquisition, then you won. Then you make so much money you can't believe, right? Because if it only costs you $350 to get a client and one client pays you $1,000, then you have an ROI of 2.86. So you nearly triple your money. And at this stage, you know, if you put more money in, so if you put $1,000 in, you will get $3,000 back. If you put like $100,000 in, you will get $300,000 back. Always be careful with this, because you can lose a lot of money, but this is basically how to make a lot of money with running ads. As I said, like, it's not something for starting out, but it's also super important to know and be aware of that you can scale with this later on super, super fast, right? And when it comes down to like, especially like meta ads, you have different options here. You can either go for like a lead form. So you can set up a lead form directly on the platform. So when somebody sees the ad and clicks on it, they like a window opens where they have to opt in their contact information, their name, their phone number, and their email address. And the other option is that you have a call to action and you redirect them to a landing page. So if they click on the ad, they go to like a landing page that you created. Especially when starting out, I always recommend you to go for like the lead form first, because you will have a lower CPL. So it like more people will actually opt in. So the CPL, so the cost per lead, will be lower because more people opt in for the money that you spend. And you can start with like doing like a call to action on the landing page after 3 to 6 months after like running like the lead form, because then it becomes a bit of saturated and landing page usually converts better, right? And if you go for like a landing page, like if you go for the lead form, they will instantly book a call on like the page. So everything is fine. If you go for the landing page, you have 3 options here. You can either do like a VSL, a lead magnet, or application form. A VSL means a video sales letter, so a video they watch before they can book a call. This is only for super high ticket products, so 10K plus. A lead magnet is like for high ticket products, so that you create, for example, a free playbook to run Facebook ads. If they click on the ad, they go to a landing page. There they can opt in for the lead magnet. And after they opted in, they go to the booking page and hopefully book a call. The last one is like the application form. So this is that they just go on the website, need to answer some questions. At the end, if they are qualified, they are able to book a call. So these are the 3 options you have here. If you go for a landing page, then I would recommend you to start with an application form, because this will also create the lowest CPL and you will get the most people opting in from all the people who see this. But no matter what they do, they always mail opt-in. So they give you the email address to contact them, plus they go to the booking page where they hopefully book a call, right? And now we covered the third area. So running paid ads. I know this can be super confusing, but this is basically everything you need to know in order to run Facebook ads and make them really, really profitable. And the last thing we move on to are referrals. So referrals, as I said, like you can also start with them, but it makes more sense to start doing them after you hit like 10K and you want to scale to 50K, for example. It's also free. And what here happens is that basically other people recommend you and then get a commission for every client that you got, basically. We have different types here. We have client referrals, we have affiliates, we have other agencies, and word of mouth. Okay. With client referrals, you just reach out to your current clients and tell them, hey, if you get me 1 client from your current network, I will put 10% off your current retainer, or you get X weeks our service for free. This works super well because it does not cost your client money to get you somebody else as a client, and they usually have a big network of other people in their niche, and they get a lot of like from it, because you either give them a discount on the next retainer or you work for free for X weeks, right? The second option are like affiliates. So you get other people to bring you clients. That can be random people, and you can just like hire people and promise them that they get X% commission for every client that you get, right? Always be careful with this and always play by the rules of your country, but this can be a big leverage point, especially if you have lower ticket products, but also like for higher ticket ones. Okay. Other agencies is the next option. So you just speak to other agencies. If they can't help their leads because they do not provide the right service, they recommend you. So if you, for example, you provide Facebook ads and the other agency you speak to provides websites. And if the other agency then speak to leads and the leads don't need a website, but they need lead generation, then the other agency can recommend you. And if you then get the client and the client pays you, you just give the other agency commission for the client that you got. All right. This is also super profitable for both sides because you get clients and the other agency also get money if the client signs up for you. Plus, people who book a call with another agency are most times already bought in, so they want to spend money. So it's easier to convert them if you have the right thing and the other agency does not have the right thing for them. The last thing is word of mouth. So this does not cost you any money. You just have to build a good reputation by providing a great service. And you can also tell your family and friends that they should like advertise you a bit. So if somebody mentions in their network that they need lead generation, your family and friends can just recommend you and tell them, hey, this is like what my family member is doing. Maybe book a call with him. Right? Important here, they only get a commission after you got the money. And they usually get 20 to 30% from the first retainer only. So you do not pay them on a monthly base or upfront. You only pay them after you got the client. And it does not mean that if they book an appointment for you, they get money. They only get money if you got a client and you got paid, right? And I would also not give them a monthly recurring commission, only on the first retainer, right? And at the end of the day, this also leads to booked calls. So now you have like 4 ways to book calls. As I said, like it's for like people who are starting out, for people who are doing 10K, want to scale to 50K, and for people who want to scale from 50 to 100K. And this is basically everything you need to know to make money and to get clients. But the last thing I want to discuss is what happens after you book the call. So after somebody booked a call, you have to add them into your CRM system. So into a system where you track their progress, their status, all the information and where they're at right now. Then before the call, you should send automated reminders plus creative emails. So you should send at least 1 automated reminder per day. So they get reminded of the call and they will be there and not be a no-show. And you also should send like creative emails where you talk about yourself, you explain who you are, you maybe show some case studies already and make them ready for the call. So you have to give them a reason why they should show up and you have to remind them to show up on the call. If you get too many appointments, then you should also add the qualification step. So that before the sales call, you qualify them based on the band framework. So budget, do they have enough money? Authority, do they see the value in you? Need, do they need to change something and need your product? And time, so is it the right time to make the decision for them? Right? So this is only something you should do when you got too many people. Then you should qualify them based on the band framework. People who are unqualified, you just eliminate. The other ones you book in the discovery call. In a discovery call, you just ask them questions to find out if you can actually help them, make them see the problem, make them aware of everything. This is actually where the sale is made. And then you just show them a demo of your product and close them. As I said, like this is the full acquisition system and the only thing you ever need to make a lot of money if you sell any kind of like agency services to any kind of industry. And I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.